Okay guys, so with Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade, it's going to be here in less than 2 weeks now, of course. It is going to drop on the 7th. Now what I want to do is kind of inform everyone on preparing for the day one, right? Day one, everyone's going to be re-rolling, people want to have the best start possible. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about all the SSR characters in this video, then I'm going to do a separate video talking about the SR characters, so that way you guys know about the day one characters that are going to be releasing and the role that they're playing, so that way when you're re-rolling, if there's a certain team you're trying to build, or let's say you summon, you got to suit yourself a bunch of characters, you know, you kind of got an instant idea on how to go about building a solid team, right? Because you already understand what the characters are doing. After that, I'm then going to drop a DPS tier list, I'm then going to drop a tanking tier list, and I'm going to drop a supporting tier list. So, because obviously with this game, each character has their role that they have to play. So we'll separate the tier list in that form, so we'll get that out of the way so you guys can see who's the best at attacking, who's the best at tanking, and who's the best at supporting, of course. Now, disclaimer, I do not know on what the day one start will be. The day one characters that I'm going off from is what is being shown here. This is the exact same to how JP started off their game. They could, if they want to, release content that was first introduced into JP version like 2-3 months into the game for day one for global. They could very well do that. That will then make it so that certain SSRs that were supposed to drop at a later time, or like a month, 2 months into the game when global drops, are going to be here day one. And if that is the case, that does change up a thing, and I'll just kind of redo certain tier lists and whatnot, and just kind of talk about on if they need to be prioritized more. So, but for right now, I'm just going to go with the base characters that were there for day one and what is being shown here. With all that being said, I do have all of the SSRs lined up right now that are going to be available day one. So let's take a look and let me give you guys the rundown on these characters. So this is this is a tutorial, of course. Green typing, attacker, so this is DPS orientated of a character, of course. Green typing, obviously make sure that you're taking notes on the typing wise, due to events and whatnot, right? Some typing are just going to have the advantage play. So raw stats right there, of course. So going through the character itself, able to attack souls, resistance to poison and soul damage when black flash is performed, increases own black flash rate 3 turns. The kit as we go, so this is going to be the initial blow, being the skill 1 regular hit, deals 100% Jujutsu damage, of course, to the selected enemy single target. Fairly simple, of course. And then going over to skill 2, this is where cursed is, or your cursed energy is going to get reduced by using this skill 2, so it's going to cost you 15. Increases own critical hit rate by 89.2% for 3 turns, and then increases black flash rate by 41.7% for 3 turns. Fills own ultimate gauge by 150%, of course. So for an attacker, this skill 2 for Dotori is beautiful. He is one of the best, one of the better DPS characters to look out for. So yeah. Skill 3, it costs you 30 now. This is more of a DPS side of things. So deals 200% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, which is 4 hits. Decreases the selected enemy critical hit resistance by 20%. So this is a beautiful, nice little setup. So I mean, you could go in with the hit, go in with the buff, drop their resistance, and then it pretty much equates to him smashing the enemy with that black flash, and that is the ultimate. Once you have the ultimate bar completely filled up, then he will do a 450% Jujutsu damage. Again, keep in mind with the skills, you can level them up to increase their percentages to do more damage, just an FYI, so there's that. Now with Jujutsu Kaisen, we do have combo, so if you use 2 ultimates, at the end of the 2 ultimates from the 2 characters, they'll come together to do like a final combination hit. And with that, increases own and combo allies damage by 10% for 2 turns, deals 94.4% of Taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. And as it notes, the percentages of the combo effect, if you have more dupes, can be increased, so that's fantastic, of course. Auto skills, Sukuna's Vessel, at the start of the battle, grants poison and soul resistance to self. So yeah, one of the best attacking characters in the game that you guys can shoot for. So if you do pull him, give yourself a pat on the back. Naname, let's freaking go. Another green attacker. So yeah, we'll dive straight on in. So at the start of turn 9, increases own abilities when Black Flash is performed, increases own Black Flash rate by 3 turns, of course. So one thing which I will say with Jujutsu Kaisen, because it is a turn-based oriented type of gameplay style, turns will come into a factor. So, and you guys will see the turn come into a factor with a certain character, which I know a lot of people are looking out for. But as a green attacker, obviously we just gone over another green attacker, so you guys can see where you know, it might clash, where you won't actually. Well, I mean, again, Nanami is not a bad character, but the fact that we've got Itadori, you know. Anyway, so his regular hit deals melee combined damage equal to 50% of Taijutsu and 50% of Jujutsu to the selected enemy. So that's a nice little half-off coverage. And then once you have 10 cursed energy, you get yourself a buff. So you get yourself a 50% critical hit rate and a 50% break damage, and both are on for 4 turns, which is very nice. His third skill, which costs 30 cursed energy, deals melee combined damage equal to 124.8% of Taijutsu and then 124 of Jujutsu to select the enemy for 4 turns. Deals ranged combined damage equal to 240 Taijutsu and 240 Jujutsu to all enemies. So this is AoE with the ultimate, of course. Then the combo effect increases own and combos allies critical hit rate by 10% for 2 turns and black flash rate by 10% for 2 turns. Deals melee combined damage equal to 50% and Taijutsu and 50% of Jujutsu to all enemies. Again, by putting on to dupes, you can increase the percentage play on that one. And then the auto skill passive that he has, overtime work, at the start of the 9th turn from the start of the battle, recovers own curse energy by 30 and then fills own ultimate gauge up by 200, increases own Jujutsu damage by 30% one time, of course. So I wouldn't say that, yeah, he's not, Nanami's not too far off. He's still a pretty decent attacker, of course, so if you do pull him, again, pat on the back, he will do you greatly. I mean, again, if for me personally, Itadori will be the better out of the two in terms of the attacking, but Nanami isn't far behind, so this is still a W of a nice little green attacker to have, of course. Panda! My Panda! This was my day one savior when I played JP. So Panda is filling out the tank role. He's a green tank. Panda is beautiful. So yeah, I have a special place for this beautiful specimen of a character. I love Panda so much. But yeah, with the characteristic, avoids being detected. Avoids being defeated in battle using core change up to 1 time during battle. So that is huge. That is very, very huge. I think this might be the best tank that you will have day one. I'm pretty sure when global releases. So with Panda's skill, first skill, which is regular hits, deals 100% Taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. If Gorilla Mode state is active, changes the skill into Seismic Fist, increases own break damage by 13.3% one time, and then deals 100% Taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. So Panda, if you guys, I'm sure we've all watched Jujutsu Kaisen, yeah, once you go into Gorilla Mode by activating the ultimate, he'll have a whole second set of moves, basically. Like, it will all change, basically. Skill 2, which will cost you 40 energy, attracts all attacks to self, which is extremely handy. He's a tank, that is his job. He's got an enemy that can taunt the enemy to focus fire on him. Awesome. It's only on for 1 turn, though. Decreases own damage received by 40%. Huge. If Gorilla Mode state is active, changes the skill into I'm kind of pissed now, and it increases own Taijutsu damage by 74.1% for 4 turns. Alright. Skill 3 deals 275% melee damage, Taijutsu damage, to the selected enemy. If Gorilla Mode is active, it changes the skill into I'll crush you. Deals 137.5 melee Taijutsu damage to all enemies, so it becomes AoE. So the ultimate is when you change. So it activates Gorilla Mode, that's when the ultimate, so the ultimate is the activation. Increases own Taijutsu damage by 20%, unable to fill own ultimate skill gauge, removes, so once you hit, by the way, once you hit Gorilla Mode, that is it. That's it. It's done. You can't go back, there's no changing. So you're going to be on the offensive now. So yeah, unable to fill ultimate skill gauge, removes all decreased damage effects from self, increases own break damage by 20%, deals 422% melee Taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. So it is single target, and then once again, doing a combination, decreases own and combo allies damage received by 10%, and then deals 100% melee Taijutsu damage selected to the selected enemy. Again, if you get more dupes onto it, it'll power up the percentage. With the auto skill passives, core switch at the start of the battle grants revival status to self 1 turn. So just when you think you're about to die, second chance. And Panda core at the start of the battle decreases own damage received by 10%. So Panda, this was one of my first SSRs on my JP account, and yeah, a phenomenal tank. If you pull Panda, to be fair, if you pull Panda and you've got yourself a DPS character, for example, if I pull Panda, forget none of me, I'm chilling. Like, we are rocking and rolling. So tank wise, if yeah, you want to get Panda, you want to get Panda. Inumaki, okay, so we have ourselves a yellow support. I wasn't too fan of this Inumaki at the very beginning because he kept doing damage to himself. Wasn't a fan of that. So yeah, I worked on him a little bit, then I just stopped using him. I just wasn't too fond of him. He's not bad. I feel like at the very beginning of the game, he's going to be okay-ish, but it's not a character that I am going head over heels for. If anything, if I do pull him, I might have to reroll, if I'm being honest. So yeah, not a character that I'm too bothered with, to be fair, especially at the very beginning. So, but anyway, Inumaki support, yellow typing. With his auto skill, or with his skill one, sorry, deals 106 Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. I should really say Taijutsu is close up, Jujutsu is like ranged, if you guys want to look at it that way as like a more easier explanation. Like a beam, right? Taijutsu, hand to hand, close quarters. Jujutsu, special attack. Yeah, there you go, special attack. It's like Pokemon, there you go. But when you're doing this attack, you do sacrifice 3% of your HP. Cannot die from sacrificing HP, so you can spam it as much as you want, but you're not going to die, but then that sets up the enemy to completely molly-wop you, so just be careful. And then when it comes to the second skill, 20 Cursed Energy, increases own break damage by 50%, deals 160% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, increases the selected enemy's damage received by 14%, sacrifices 5% of HP. This isn't too bad. So obviously with Inumaki, you want to have him in your team build near the back of the group, or like mid, or like third slot in. When you are putting your characters down in like the first slot, second slot, third slot, fourth slot, that is going to be crucial, because you want to avoid having this man being anywhere close to the enemy. Keep him in the back, let him do his range, let him do his debuffs, and yeah. Now, by him sacrificing HP, he does have a skill, as you guys can see, that does recover his own HP by 14%, so it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. But the supportive play is going to be coming from that second skill. Then the ultimate deals 574% skill damage to the selected enemy, sacrifices 12% of HP. So that's kind of what we're working with. So yeah, not the best support, I will say. Combo recovers own and combo allies HP by 8%, deals 100% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, and then the auto skills stop at the start of the battle, nullifies one fatal attack to self or an ally one time. That's huge. And then Nodon, okay, I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing that. At the start of the battle, sorry, at the start of each turn, recovers own HP by 10%, chances 20%, of course. So again, the auto skill passives are very, very handy, of course. So again, nothing too crazy with Inumaki. I wounn't say he's anything too crazy that you need to go hunt for. So Kukusaki is a yellow attacker. We've got some more DPS going in. So characteristic, able to attack souls when attacking the same enemy multiple times, increases her own damage. So in a boss fight, she is insane. Or when there's one enemy, basically. So predominantly boss fights. So it's skill 1 deals 99.9% of range Jujutsu damage to the selected enemies, 3 hits. Increases the selected enemy's nail count by 3 for 3 turns. And then skill 2 increases own Jujutsu damage by 35% for 4 turns. Skill 3 deals 200% ranged Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. The lower own HP is, the greater the damage boost. And then the ultimate increases the selected enemy's nail count by 3 for 3 turns. Deals 225% ranged Jujutsu damage to enemies with nail count. The higher the enemy's nail count, the greater the damage, removes all nail count. Basically, she will nuke you. This is one of the attackers not to be slept on. The more nails, like I say, for going against a boss that, well, to go against just one boss, or just a boss fight in general, of course, even if there are multiple grunts around you, if you just pile on the nails, she just nukes. She is a nuker. Alright, again, one of the hidden unit that I kind of slept on my JP account. But yeah, no, she is one hell. This is one of the DPS character that I'm going to be doing my absolute hardest to go for, 100%. Yeah, with the combo, so fills own and combos allies ultimate skill gauge by 96%, deals 31.4 range Jujutsu damage to enemies. And then when it comes to the auto skill, at the start of the battle, increases own critical hit rate by 10%. So that is pretty solid in that part. But yeah, Kusagi is an amazing yellow DPS character, so do not sleep on her. She's definitely going to be one of the eye candy. Oh, Gojo, here we go. This is probably going to be the same thing to what happened on JP. On JP, practically everyone went for Gojo, so there's that. He is a blue attacker. He is a beast. He is a monster. There's nothing more to say. He is so good of a character that he will leave the field after 7 turns. Yeah, you heard me. Shiny, does that mean he actually leaves? So let's say you're in a fight and you exceed 7 turns, he will literally instant transmission out of that fight, and then whoever you've got, like your sub character, because you've got your initial team character and then you've got your sub character, and then you've got your friend character, of course. Your sub character will take Gojo's place. So you have 7 turns to use Gojo. He is that broke. Trust me, this isn't like, oh my god, 7 turns, oh that's trash. No, he is broken. Every single Gojo on this game is stupidly broken. There is a reason why he has this, alright? Trust me, in 7 turns, oh, he can clean way less than 7, alright? So don't feel like, oh, 7 turns, he's that's not good. If you build him up, oh, mother of God. When Black Flash is performed, increases own critical hit rate. That's on for 2 turns. So when it comes to the kit, initial skill 1 deals 275% Jujutsu damage to a selected enemy. And then, of course, when it comes to skill 2, I mean, look at the energy cost. I mean, the game literally wants you to absolutely obliterate the enemy. Deals 200% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. Third skill increases own damage by 75%, so activate that, and then you're going to be slapping the enemy. His ultimate is AoE and does 525% damage, of course. If you do a combination with an ally, break damage by 8% for 2 turns, and then you deal 944% Jujutsu damage to all enemies. And then in terms of auto skills, so at the start of the battle, grants urgent business status to self for 7 turns. So if you see this, that means the timer has is ticking. And then once 7 turns hit, it'll expire, and then he'll leave the field. And then limitless technique at the start of the battle grants attack immunity to self. So you know how I said how how Panda is an amazing tank? Yeah. Gojo can't even be touched. Yeah, so that is Gojo for you. So this is probably going to be the highly re-rolled character. Yes, everyone's going to be re-rolled. I don't even blame you, though. So there's that. And so we got Fugo in the building. So we got a blue attacker again. Just gonna keep it short and sweet. I wasn't very too fond with this Fugo. I do have him, but yeah, not my not a character that I use too much. So yeah, anyway, so blue attacker deals 100% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. If a divine dog is active, increases own break damage by 20% for 1 turn. Deals 140% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, of course. Skill 2, which is 20 cursed energy, deals 80% of Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. Stuns the selected enemy for 1 turn, 60% chance. So there's one of the sell points. He is a bit of a stunner. And then if Divine Dog is active, increases own break damage by 20% for 1 turn, and then deals 140% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. Skill 3 deals 125% Jujutsu damage to all enemies, nice little AoE. And then the ultimate, it activates the Divine Dog, increases own break damage by 20% for 1 turn, decreases own damage received by 10% for 1 turn, deals 300% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. If Divine Dog is already active, changes the skill effect to deals 400% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, of course. Increases own and combos allies damage by 10% for 2 turns, and then does 94.4 melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. And then, of course, when it comes to the auto skill passives, if Divine Dog is active, decreases own damage received by 10%. And then the second one, also Bashu, at the start of the battle, increases own damage by 20% effective when selected enemy is in break status, of course. So that is pretty solid. I will say with this Fugo, of course, I do like using him as a bit of a sub DPS type character, of course, and plus having that little stun right there can come in clutch too, I will say. So as a sub DPS character, third, second slot, well, second slot I would say, or maybe even, yeah, third slot I might predominantly put you in. Unless I've got nothing going in the back, that might be on the fourth slot. But yeah, nice little sub DPS, I will say. Not a bad character. Pretty nice to have to get some additional damage going off right there, and just kind of hindering the enemy with that stun. So not too bad on Fugo right there. We got Maki. We got a red attacker this time. So characteristic: unable to recover or consume cursed energy. Kind of makes sense. So first skill, deals 100% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. Second skill, deals 90% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy, decreases the selected enemy's taijutsu damage by 30%. So that is going to be extremely handy for set bosses or set fights if they are dealing taijutsu damage. So there's one of the self factors for this specific Maki. Oh, she's a red attacker. Did I say that? I did. Skill 3 deals 70% taijutsu damage to all enemies. Then the ultimate deals 480% melee taijutsu damage to selected enemies for... it's 2 hits. Increases own and combo allies damage by 8% for 2 turns. It deals 94.4 taijutsu damage to the selected enemies. And when it comes to all skills passive, at the start of the battle, increases own taijutsu damage by 7%. The more enemies in the wave, the greater the damage boost. And then at the start of the battle, at the start of each wave, increases own taijutsu damage by 10% for 1 turn. I'm pretty sure in saying this might be our only good red attacker. I might be tripping, but I'm pretty sure right now Maki is going to be... I mean, she's okay for a red attacker. I think that's kind of one of the biggest self point, and the fact that obviously if there's multiple enemies, she'll benefit from that. And if there is a boss that is heavily into the taijutsu damage region, then we can drop that by 30%, of course. So there are some self factors for Maki. I wouldn't say she's all too terrible. She's decent at the very least for being a red attacker, of course. Again, I didn't really much use her, to be fair. But I wouldn't say that she's horrible. So yeah, not too bad. Fairly decent. Ooh, Todo. So we have a red attacker. I mean, it says red attacker. To me, he comes across as a bit of a red support. The way I used him on my account, because Todo was one of my day ones, and I actually pulled, I think, an additional 1 or 2 extra copies. I used him as a support, to be fair. So, but anyway, yeah, I would say more of a support than attacker, just an FYI. So when it comes to the kit, so deals 100% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. Once we get into the skill side of things now, so skill 2, increases own and ally behind's taijutsu damage by 15% for 3 turns, 3 times. Grants best friend status to the ally behind 3 turns. Best friend status: when the ally with this status is targeted by an enemy's attack, deals 70% taijutsu damage as counter damage, inflicts the confusion status on the countered enemy for 3 turns, chance 70%, that's good. Counter requires 10 energy to be activated. Counter will not activate if the ally has evasion status or attack immunity. Gojo. So the way this is going to work, because it's kind of awkward, Todo has to be in front of the character. So let's say, I don't know, Itadori's in front of Gojo, that's not going to work. He has to be behind. So Todo has to be up in the team setup. Or yeah, the team build. So second slot basically, because obviously the first slot is going to be taken with those that can tank. So that's the only awkward thing about it. Unless you keep him on the 3rd slot and then whoever you're protecting is on the 4th slot, aka like your healer or, I don't know, your sub DPS. I mean, yeah, that's basically what we're kind of working off from. But yeah, so like I say, nice little support in terms of countering the enemy's attack, applying the confusion. You can furthermore apply the confusion with the skill 3, so you deal 70% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy, inflicts the confusion status on the selected enemy for 3 turns. This is only a 30% chance, so hopefully RNG is in your favor. So that's why I say that when it comes to this Todo, I look at him more of a support than I do as a attacker. And then the ultimate deals a 525% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 3 hits, increases own critical hit rate by 20% for 3 turns 1 time. If an ally has the best friend status, increases the ally's critical hit rate by 20%. So again, DPS. That's why I say if you've got Kugisaki, if you've got Itadori, if you've got... Oh no, you can't have Gojo because it's got the... Oh no, yeah, technically you can have Gojo, I guess. But always have your DPS in front of Todo if you choose to run him. a perfect, nice little coverage in the counter-attacking as well as the buffing through that ultimate. So that is going to be pretty solid. Like I say, this is a nice little DPS support. And then increases own and combo ally critical hit rate by 10%. Increases own and combo allies black flash rate by 10%. Deals 94.4 taijutsu damage. Auto skills: when an enemy is defeated, increases own taijutsu damage by 15%. So yeah, that is Todo. Again, I personally wouldn't use him as attacker. I would more focus him as a supporter. That's how I did things, and worked out beautifully. So the next character, well, actually the final character, I don't know if they will release that first things first, but there is going to be a shop where you can pick up free SSRs that they do give out. It just, there's a lot of grind to it. You just have to grind events, of course, and get the specific resources for them. But yeah, we're gonna go through them. I don't have access to them. Just gonna put that out there. But yeah, so we've got a red support. My bad. Characteristic: receives damage when targeted by reverse curse technique, weak against flame. So skill 1, deals 71.0% ranged Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy to hit. The higher the enemy's ultimate skill count, the greater the damage. So that's a nice little setup. Deals 210.1 range Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. And then the third skill decreases all enemies' damage by 19.8%, and then increases own ultimate skill gauge charge rate by 50% for 3 turns. I have used this character once, and I will say this buff is huge, so I am a fan of this. So nice little support play going on there. And then the ultimate deals 462% range Jujutsu damage to all enemies for 4 hits. Expand the domain for 4 turns. While domain is active, grants guaranteed hit effect and attack immunity nullifications to self. Decreases all enemies damage by 16.9%. Unable to fill own ultimate skill gauge. Depletes own cursed energy after domain deactivates, of course. Increases own and combo allies break damage by 8.0, and then deals 33.0 range Jujutsu damage to all enemies. In terms of the auto skills, regeneration: so at the start of the battle you recover 13% of your HP every turn, and then essence of curses: at the start of each wave recovers own cursed energy by 10. So yeah, I thought I never used this character, but I actually do recall using this skill 3. I think it was through an event where we had access to this character. So I have used this character once, I know that for sure, because I remember using this skill 3 because it was a nice little setup for the domain expansion, of course. But yeah, nice little support, of course, not too bad on that one. Jogo in the building, being the blue attacker. I've heard some good things about this character, by the way. So receives damage when targeted by reverse curse technique. Skill 1, deals melee combined damage equal to 55.7 taijutsu and 55 jujutsu to selected enemy. Deals range combined damage equal to 8% of taijutsu and 8% of jujutsu to selected enemy. And then third skill deals 86 ranged. Whoa! No taijutsu. Interesting. Okay, so deals 86.8% range jujutsu damage to one enemy for 3 times. And then the domain expansion deals 260% range Jujutsu damage to all enemies. Expands the domain for 4 turns. While domain is active, grants guaranteed hit effect and attack immunity nullifications to self. Deals 40% continuous Jujutsu damage flame to all enemies. Increases own critical hit rate by 110%. Increases own damage by 15.5%. Reduces damage received by 15.5%. Recovers own cursed energy by 30.2%. Unable to fill ultimate skill gauge, that makes sense. And then depletes own cursed energy after domain deactivate. Holy crap! So once that domain expansion kicks in, Christ on a bike. Alright, hold on. Recovers own and combo allies cursed energy by 20. And then you do melee combined damage, so 51 or 52% Jujutsu and Taijutsu, of course. If own HP is 50% or below, increases own Jujutsu damage by 25% up to 1 time during battle. At the start of each wave, recovers own cursed energy by 10. Not too bad, to be honest. As a free SSR, yeah, Jogo doesn't sound too bad. Well, once that domain expansion kicks in, oh, then he's gonna have his ways. Okay, I see what the developers are doing. Not too bad of free SSRs. Now, Mahito is the other character that released at a later time. I know that he's in a out of the 3 characters, I think Mahito is going to be the one that a lot of people are going to be catering to be fair, because I regard him as the better one out of the 3. But I'm just going to go over him because they could very well add him day 1. within the shop. So receives damage when targeted by reverse curse technique. Able to attack souls, weak to soul damage, of course. So skill 1 deals 133.4 range taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. If the enemy does not have any weakness to green typing, changes the skill effect to deals 133.4 range taijutsu damage to the selected enemy as a type that the selected enemy has a weakness to. Attacks without a type when selecting an enemy without a weakness. While the domain is active, depending on the own Jujutsu and enemy's remaining HP, instantly kill the enemy. Some enemies excluded, effectiveness is high. Whoa. So I've never used this character. And mother of God, that first skill, Jesus Christ. Okay, second skill, what the? Grants miniaturization status to self for 1 turn. Fills own ultimate skill gauge by 270%. What the? What's going on? While the domain is active, changes his skill effect to deals 224.3 melee taijutsu damage as a type that the selected enemy has a weakness to. Attacks without a type when selecting an enemy without a weakness. Oh, okay. Increases the selected enemy taijutsu damage received by 20% for 2 turns. Depending on the own jutsu and enemy's remaining HP, instantly kill the enemy. So it's still, oh my, so it's still got it. Okay. Miniaturization status, evade single target attacks. What? Wait a minute. Yo, my heads are wait. I feel like if this drops day 1, this is gonna be huge. Deals 400% melee jutsu damage to the selected enemy, depending on the own jutsu or an enemy's remaining HP, instantly kill the enemy. Okay. When the domain is active, changes the skill effect to increase his own jujutsu damage by 20.1% for 1 turn, 1 time. Deals 450% melee jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, depending on own jujutsu and enemy remaining HP instantly. Okay, again, it's got the insta. Oh my god, holy, what the God's green enough is going on here? So he's got his domain expansion, deals 666.2 range jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, deals damage equal to 15% of all enemies HP or minus, and then while the domain is active, grants guaranteed hit effect and attack immunity nullification to self, decreases own damage received by 20.1%, unable to fill ultimate skill gauge when using a skill, depending on own jujutsu and enemy's remaining HP, again you get an insta kill, depletes own cursed energy after domain deactivates, unable to fill ultimate skill gauge after domain deactivates for 2 turns, of course. Wait, what are his regeneration? At the start of each turn, if own HP is 70% or below and cursed energy is 40 or above, recovers own HP by 8%. The lower own HP is, the greater the HP recovery, up to 16%. Inflicts damage cut to self, decreases own damage received by 12%. The higher own cursed energy is, the greater the damage received decrease, up to 24%. Oh my god! Okay, I feel like Maho isn't going to be releasing day 1. If they do, that is definitely going to be the character that everyone's chasing for in order to get for free unlocked, like the first one. Damn. Okay, well that is yeah, that's new to me. Anyway, so those are all the SSR characters that will have day 1. I'll go over the SR characters, but to be fair with the SR characters, there's only a few SR characters you really need to concern yourself about. So I think what I will do is I'll briefly go over all the SR characters, but the SR characters that you really should look out for, I'll go more in depth into those ones. So that way we can just kind of pass through the ones that you guys don't really need to care for. But in terms of the SSRs, yeah, the lineup for the day 1 characters are looking really solid. Again, when I do my tier list, you guys will know which ones to go for. But yeah, Maho did kind of shock me. I'll be surprised if they release from day 1. But in terms of day 1 characters, this is what this is the SSR lineup. So yeah, and again, disclaimer: they could very well add more SSRs in if they choose to. If they want to especially make it so that global catches up, if that's even a thing that they're considering, then yeah, we could expect content that was released a month, 2 month, 3 month into JP drop day 1 for global. So just an FYI.